Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new vlog. And it's hard to say brand new vlog because it's like Wednesday already. Again, I just haven't been filming much of anything just because it's been so repetitive. However, I do have some updates. Couple updates for today. I had my first kind of two more bigger tests, I guess you could say. I wouldn't consider a 5% exam. I didn't know how much it was worth this morning. But there was an open book exam this morning in my pharmacy products class. It was just looking up information. It was really easy and I did really well on it. But I find that like when I'm told where to grab information from, that I don't find it difficult to do. I think it would get harder if you weren't really sure where they were wanting us to use or to look for something. But in this case, was fairly simple and straightforward just because it was more like the assignment I did last semester for one of my other classes, where it was just like, use this resource to find this information, and that's kind of how that went. So that was good. My first kind of major unit exam was today. So that one was my pharmacy management course. The one that was is kind of a lot of asynchronous stuff and heavy information. I am very happy with how that went this afternoon. Actually, I just finished the class and I did really well on it. I found the concepts were pretty easy, which is good because it looks like the next section is like calculations and like marketing calculations and stuff. I don't know how to feel about that, but yeah, there was one calculation, but it was very easy to do today. Other than that, I don't know, it was just very straightforward. The other big news is that I got my confirmation email for internship. So before I go upstairs and study for tonight, I am going to be sending that in so that I don't forget about it. I like to send things in as soon as I get it, so I will be doing that right away. The other thing I've been doing is these sheets, is making cards for my Anki cards. I just hope I have enough time to get through them, to be quite honest with you. I think, like, so far, I haven't even gotten up to 50 today, but I have like two, not even close to two done. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can just work on it a little slower and then hammer it out really heavy the next couple of days while I have the afternoons off. That's what I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time doing. I might switch between a couple of different classes. My non-prescription products class, I do want to make note. I just want to make those slides into notes for that. It's heavy memorization this semester, as I've been saying constantly. It's like you have a hose hooked up to you and they've cranked it out of like, say the hose is only supposed to go to 10, but for some reason it can go to like a 30. I think this semester is going to be about focusing on what's the most important and going from there. Like I said, tomorrow just that drug quiz, another lecture, so we'll get more information. I've been working until about 6 o'clock this week just to try and get caught up on studying and stuff. And I probably will again tonight as well. It's Thursday today. I'm studying in a more comfortable and warmer spot. That room downstairs can actually get a little cold. I have a heater in there, but it's not the best. So I've been studying up here since I finished this morning, which was fairly early. I think I was done around 11 or so. I've finished my putting my sheets into my cart, making my sheets into cards. Now I'm working on my non-pharmacy products or non-pharmacy products. I'm working on my non-prescription products now. So when it comes to prescription drugs, I recognize generics a lot faster than I recognize the brands. And it's because prescription drugs in Canada tend to focus on generics. Like we see generics more often than we see brand names, because when it comes to prescription drugs, most of the time insurance only wants to cover generics. However, in the non-prescription products class, the opposite is true. So I don't really recognize the generic names of the products, but as soon as I see the brand names, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. It's very interesting how there's that dynamic there between the two different sections of pharmacy. All right, hello everyone, and happy Friday. I'm actually going to conclude my vlog right now. Okay, so first of all, how everything went yesterday was great. So we had our orientation where we covered QA, QC, and then time competencies. And what was really cool about this is that we not only listened to them talk about what it was, but we got to do a couple of practice things. So the QA, QC is what I would just summarize as the technical check. So you're looking for your quality assurance. Does your product, and it's basically this 8-point DIN check. So it's basically from 1 to 7. I guess I could always blur it out too, but it's from 1 to 7. So we've got the patient name, drug, strength, DIN number, which is how we identify drugs in Canada. Each drug has a drug identification number. Even applies to our, I'm guessing my bottle's upstairs because I had my other bottle down here. But anyways, it applies to like over-the-counter prescription drugs. It's how Health Canada identifies the drug, and then it's how it's regulated. All of that is done through the DIN number. That's actually one of the ways we can verify, yes, that is the drug that you're working with, and yes, that is the correct medication. When you're counting it out and checking it, it is really nice to have that, because to just go by name and strength and all of that leads to errors really, really fast. Anybody who's in medicine can tell you that, like, there's a lot of look-alike, sound-alike drugs, all of those kind of things. So the DIN number helps get over that hurdle in a very nice way, actually. And then SIG, so this is your directions. So you guys will see that as an example of take one tablet every 8 hours, or maybe it's take one tablet 3 times a day. And those two actually aren't the same, but it's these directions to the patient essentially, and we want to make sure that those are correct. Quantity, is the patient getting the right number of quantity of pills, patches, or however that is? Are they getting the right amount of liquid if it's a liquid? And prescriber, is the doctor correct? You want to make sure they have the correct prescriber on there. And then if there's any repeats, and you want to make sure that those are correct as well. That is what we're verifying when we're doing that technical check. And actually, I'm going to take that with me. I'm going to print out one of those and keep them with me at work. Because what I want to start doing is figuring out my system for how I want to do that. And I want to use the checklist as remembering this is everything that I need to check. Because that's the biggest hurdle right now, is I haven't done that before. So it's about establishing the right system that works for me, that is going to be accurate, consistent, and quick. Basically, all of those things all at once. So that's QA/QC. It's basically that technical check. That's what you're verifying. It's called, I think they do it as an 8-point DIN check on this example. Yeah, 8-point DIN check is what it's called. Or maybe it's 7-point because the DIN is included in that. I'm just going to call it the 8-point DIN check. And then the other thing is called a time competency. So this is where we're given a prescription that we need to fill. So you need to, and it's basically everything except the documentation. And we're given so long to fill those, and we got to get it accurately. So we got to do the math, you got to make sure it's the right, get the right drug, all of that kind of thing. And you're tested on the timing of that. And that's just because pharmacies operate on a quick, you need to be able to fill a prescription while somebody's waiting for it in line, basically. So that's why that's important. So that was kind of the lab yesterday. It was very different, but it was nice that they gave us these practice examples of what these are going to be like. And it's definitely going to be stressful once it's actually like the must pass part of it. So I just want to take a second and talk about what this internship is. I'm getting a lot of people, I think, especially in my immediate family, who are thinking that I've applied for an internship and that I'm going to be working somewhere for the summer, because that's how like a lot of industries work. So no, that's not what this means with becoming an intern with the regulatory body. So all of us who are registered into the pharmacy technician program at my school, any one of us who are registered into that program are required to register with SCPP as an intern. So, what does this mean? So, it's not the same as applying for an internship and getting a contract, basically, like a lot of the oil fields would be. It's not like you're competing for a contract for work experience. No. So, what this means is until you are registered as a technician, you are not able to use the title technician because it's a protected title. I've talked about that before. However, you also can't do a lot of the things that technicians can do because you're not regulated. Like anyone can be hired off the street to become an assistant. And there are certain things that you're allowed to do. But unless you're registered as an intern or you're actually a registered pharmacy technician, like registered as an, so there's interns for pharmacists and there's interns for technicians because both of those are regulated in Saskatchewan. There is no registration for assistants because they're not regulated. So what this internship allows me to do, if they're comfortable with it, and that's the important thing. I think for practicum, they're required to have you do certain things according to the program. But for those of us who are currently in working and in practice right now, that's what they call it when you're kind of working, you're already in practice, you already have working at a pharmacy. It allows them to have us work up to the pharmacy technician scope of practice, basically. So this will give potential for me to do a lot more work, is essentially what it means. It's not the same as I've gotten a contract working with a particular company for so long. And it's not a competitive thing, it's a requirement. That doesn't mean that it's any less important that I haven't competed for it. I hope people understand that. The thing is I can't really use a lot of examples because there's not really a lot of like regular jobs that I could use as a comparison for this. Now, I did want to get into a little bit on my feelings about this because as you guys know, since I was diagnosed with IIH in 2018, like I'm going on how many years now? 7? 8? I can't even do the math on that anymore. So I originally got sick around this time in 2018. So 2025. I was sick at this point. 7 years. So it's been 7 years, be 7 years this September since I've been diagnosed. And then kind of 6 years since I was at my sickest when I was on that topiramate. So, the how far I've come, I was pretty emotional actually on, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional again. But you know what? If I have to, and I have to show this, that's perfectly fine because it is a really, really big deal. At least to me, it feels like a really big deal. When I got diagnosed with IIH originally, I did not think that there was a chance that I was going to be able to get back to work. I lost the weight, I went into remission, I got put on Aimovig, I was able to work, I had benefits for a while. I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't for the fact that, like, I'm in this position. Like, I'm so stable with medication and weight loss and remission. And, like, so I got pretty emotional on Wednesday night when was like really processing this because when I got sick and was trying to, deal with the emotions of that, I didn't think that this, like, any of this would be possible again. I'm like, great, I've lost my independence completely. Like, it was so much grieving. And so to be in this spot and to have, like, that part of it, it just it's a validation thing for me that, like, all of the work I do to try and stay steady with how I'm feeling and how everything is going is for a purpose and for a reason. I would argue I'm better even after only doing one semester of schooling. I am that much more valuable because I have that schooling and have some knowledge about pharmacy, have some knowledge about the program, the computer program that we use. I kind of wish that there was a training program, anyways, to work in the pharmacy. It would be beneficial. However, that's not the case. You know, whether I think it would be beneficial just with like an on the job thing because every pharmacy is going to be different. But like the amount of value that I've built up in like the last few months has been incredible. And it's so cool because I get to apply so much of what I'm learning about. This was a big deal emotionally because of the amount of grieving that I went through with this whole situation that happened with IIH and migraines, because I didn't think that it would be possible for me to get back to that place. I didn't think it was going to happen. To tell myself that 6 years ago, I would have been like, I don't know how that's even going to be a thought, let alone it actually being reality. It's lunchtime now. I think I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching. And I know this vlog probably wasn't the greatest this week. If you're wanting to see me continue on this journey of becoming a registered pharmacy technician, then feel free to stick with me, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions or further questions about IIH or migraines, drop them down into the comments as well. Although I don't talk much about IIH and migraines anymore in particular, there are certain moments, like exactly the one I talked about in today's vlog, where it is a bit, it comes to mind. It's a big deal because my point of having this channel now is to hopefully give some of you hope that although you may feel like you're in the biggest amount of darkness right now where you're at, there's hope that things can change and get better. It's not guaranteed. I don't want to promise that, but at least hopefully it offers you all some hope. And that's all that I care about, is that number one, you have the support that you need from people around you who've been through something similar as you, and that two, that mental health part of IIH and migraines not talked about enough, and it's a big, massive deal losing that independence. Thanks for joining me this week, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye, everyone.